When The Terminator hit theaters in 1984, nobody realized they were watching the birth of a sci-fi religion. James Cameron's low-budget fever dream about a killer cyborg from the future rewired Hollywood forever. It made Arnold Schwarzenegger a legend, turned "I'll be back" into prophecy, and reshaped how we imagine machines, fate, and fear. But behind the chrome skulls and leather jackets are secrets so bizarre, they sound made up. Here are 20 weird facts about the Terminator that'll make you see this classic in a whole new way. Number 1. The idea came from a fever dream. James Cameron was bedridden in Rome with a blazing 102 degrees and fever when he had a nightmare that changed cinema forever. A chrome skeleton crawling through fire, its red eyes glowing in the smoke. He woke up drenched in sweat, sketched the image on hotel stationery, and later said it was like seeing the whole movie in one shot. That nightmare became the Terminator. Cameron turned his illness into inspiration, channeling it into the mechanical terror we know today. The chrome skeleton wasn't just an effect, it was the ghost of that dream, brought to life frame by frame. Number 2. Schwarzenegger was originally cast as the hero. When Arnold Schwarzenegger first met James Cameron, he wasn't auditioning to be the killing machine. He was up for Kyle Reese, the human hero. But during lunch, Cameron couldn't stop noticing how Arnold described how he'd kill Sarah Connor if he were the Terminator. Cameron suddenly saw it. This guy doesn't play the hero. He is the Terminator. Arnold didn't even want to say much dialogue. He just wanted to move like a machine. Cameron agreed. That meeting flipped the entire casting. Michael Biehn got Reese, and Arnold became a cinematic monster. It's funny how fate works. The man built to play the hero became the most iconic villain in sci-fi history. And the story doesn't end there. In Fact 11, you'll see how the studio nearly erased all of that by trying to rename the movie, a move that could have changed Arnold's destiny entirely. Number 3. O.J. Simpson was almost the Terminator. Before Arnold locked in the role, Orion Pictures had a brilliant idea: O.J. Simpson as the Terminator. Studio execs thought his athletic build and fame would sell tickets, but James Cameron shot it down, saying O.J. looked too nice to ever be a believable, cold-blooded killer. Let that irony sink in. A decade later, Simpson became infamous for reasons far darker than fiction. It's one of those chilling Hollywood coincidences, the kind that makes you pause and wonder if the universe keeps score. Cameron's rejection didn't just save the movie, it cemented Schwarzenegger's rise to stardom. Imagine the Terminator with O.J.'s face. It's a different timeline altogether. Number 4. The studio hated Cameron's script. When James Cameron first pitched The Terminator, executives at Orion Pictures thought he'd lost it. A time-traveling robot hitman sent to kill a waitress? One exec scoffed. It's too weird, too dark. They wanted something safer, cheaper, easier to explain on a poster. Cameron refused to water it down. He promised he could shoot it for under $7 million, gritty, fast, and mean. Even then, studio execs nearly pulled the plug multiple times, calling it a B-movie with delusions of grandeur. But Cameron believed in his fever dream. And when audiences finally saw The Terminator, it blew the studio's expectations to pieces. What they thought was trash became titanium. Number 5. It was shot guerrilla style. The Terminator may look like a big Hollywood production, but most of it was filmed like an outlaw project. James Cameron didn't have the money or permits for many Los Angeles night scenes, so he shot them guerrilla style. No permissions, no location control. Just raw, stolen moments. The crew would roll camera, light a scene fast, capture an explosion or chase, and literally run from cops minutes later. Cameron called it movie making by ambush. The city's neon lights and gritty streets became accidental co-stars, giving the film its cold, metallic realism. Those illegal night shoots, done under pressure and fear, injected the film with the chaos it needed. That constant sense of being hunted. When you see Arnold stalking through LA, it's not just acting, it's art imitating the crew's real panic. But the story doesn't end there. In Fact 14, you'll see how the chaos and unpredictability of these streets mirrors the time-bending logic that Cameron scribbled in his fevered dream notebook. the same notebook that would define the fate of every character in the film. Number 6. Schwarzenegger had only 17 lines. Despite being the face of the Terminator, Arnold Schwarzenegger barely talks. Across the entire movie, the T-800 delivers just 17 lines, roughly 58 words total. Yet every one of them burns into your memory. Come with me if you want to live. I'll be back. Cameron deliberately stripped down the dialogue to make Arnold's character more mechanical, unpredictable, and terrifying. The silence worked. Every pause became tension, every word a weapon. Schwarzenegger said he practiced his lines hundreds of times, perfecting a flat, emotionless tone so he'd sound like a computer imitating a man. That decision turned minimalism into menace and proved you don't need paragraphs to make history. The Terminator didn't speak much, but when he did, it echoed forever. Number 7. Cameron was sued for plagiarism. After the Terminator exploded at the box office, science fiction legend Harlan Ellison noticed something. It looked suspiciously similar to 2 Outer Limits episodes he'd written, Soldier and Demon with a Glass Hand. Ellison claimed Cameron lifted his central idea of a time-traveling soldier sent from the future. The studio, wanting to avoid a messy court battle, quietly settled. They even added a small credit at the end. Acknowledgement to the works of Harlan Ellison. Cameron was furious, insisting he hadn't stolen a thing. He later called the settlement a stupid decision, but the damage was done. To this day, some fans argue the similarities are uncanny. Others say it's coincidence. Either way, one thing's certain. Even lawsuits couldn't stop the Terminator from rewriting sci-fi history. Number 8. The police station massacre took a week to film that iconic scene. The cold, unstoppable Terminator storming into a police station was a logistical nightmare. It took 7 full nights to film, using hundreds of blank rounds, practical squibs, and real pyrotechnics. Cameron choreographed every bullet hit like a dance, insisting on realism over flash. The crew had to reset shattered glass, squibs, and lighting after each take, often working until sunrise. Arnold trained with real LAPD officers to learn how to move, reload, and clear rooms like a pro, then did it all with chilling calm. The sound of gunfire echoing through those narrow hallways made the crew's skin crawl. Some admitted it felt too real. When Cameron yelled "cut" after the final take, everyone exhaled. They'd just created one of the most relentless sequences in movie history. A mechanical massacre burned into pop culture forever. But it doesn't all end there. In Fact 17, you'll discover how Cameron pulled off this entire sequence along with the rest of the film on a shoestring budget, proving that genius and terror don't need millions to come alive. Number 9. The eyeball scene was a puppet. That disturbing close-up, the Terminator digging out his own damaged eyeball, wasn't Arnold Schwarzenegger. It was a hyper-realistic animatronic head, built by effects genius Stan Winston. The puppet had moving eyes, twitching muscles, and even synthetic skin that tore like flesh. Cameron intercut shots of Arnold's real face with Winston's creation so smoothly that audiences believed it was real. During filming, people on set said it looked so lifelike it made them physically uncomfortable. The smell of the latex and artificial blood only added to the nausea. That single effect proved you didn't need CGI to shock people. Just craftsmanship, light, and pure guts. Every blink, every rip of synthetic tissue sold the illusion of metal wearing skin. In 1984, that head wasn't just a prop. It was a warning about where machines and humans might one day merge. Number 10. Cameron's then-wife. Played the waitress. Before Gail Ann Hurd produced Aliens and The Walking Dead, she played a small but memorable role, the waitress serving Sarah Connor in the diner scene. Hurd wasn't just an actress that day, she was also the film's producer and James Cameron's wife at the time. They were a 2-person army. She found funding, managed chaos, and even stepped into the frame when Cameron needed a quick cameo. Their creative chemistry powered the entire production, though the marriage didn't last. Hurd later joked that their relationship was forged in gunfire, sweat, and deadlines. But on screen, her moment lasts. a tiny, blink-and-you-miss-it cameo that quietly ties her to one of cinema's greatest sci-fi worlds. Behind every frame of the Terminator was her grit. Without her, the metal never would have moved. Which of these insane behind-the-scenes facts blew your mind the most so far? Drop your favorite in the comments, and if you're a true Terminator fan, hit that like button and subscribe so you don't miss the shocking secrets coming up next. Trust me, the story only gets weirder from here. Number 11. The studio almost renamed the movie. Remember in Fact 2 when Arnold was almost cast as the hero instead of the Terminator? That same clash between vision and expectation comes up again here. Believe it or not, the Terminator almost had one of the worst titles in film history: The Killing Machine. Studio executives thought Terminator sounded too strange, too robotic, too cold. They wanted something catchier, something they could slap on a poster and sell. James Cameron was horrified. He told them, if you change the title, you change the movie. He refused to budge. Eventually, Orion relented, letting him keep it. In hindsight, thank God they did. The Killing Machine sounds like a 1980s direct-to-VHS B-movie. The Terminator became timeless, sleek, chilling, unforgettable. It's proof that sometimes a single word can decide a film's destiny. That stubbornness from Cameron wasn't ego, it was instinct. He knew what he'd created wasn't just another action flick. It was a prophecy wrapped in metal. Number 12. The Tech Noir Club was a real place. That pulsing, neon-lit nightclub where Sarah Connor first meets the Terminator wasn't a movie set. It was a real LA club called Tech Noir. Cameron loved the name so much he adopted it to describe his entire aesthetic, a fusion of technology and film noir. Inside, the flashing strobes, synth music, and sweat-filled dance floor created the perfect contrast: humanity versus machine, chaos versus control. The crew transformed the real venue overnight, filling it with extras, fake blood, and fog. The name stuck beyond the movie. Tech Noir is now a recognized subgenre of sci-fi. The irony? The actual club closed soon after filming, but its legacy never died. Every time you see a neon-drenched cyberpunk cityscape, Blade Runner, Ghost in the Shell, The Matrix, you're seeing Cameron's term come to life. Number 13. Arnold practiced gun movements for a month. To make the T-800 feel like a real killing machine, Arnold Schwarzenegger trained with real weapons for an entire month before filming began. But this wasn't typical Hollywood gun practice. He drilled blindfolded, repeating every move until it looked robotic. Reloading, chambering rounds, even the way he turned his head between targets had to look unnaturally precise. He worked with mechanical precision. It's not acting, it's programming. Every motion told the same story. This thing wasn't human, and it never missed. Number 14. The time travel logic came from a dream notebook. Remember the chaos of those guerrilla-style shoots in Fact 5? The fear, the unpredictability, the way every alley felt alive. Cameron carried that same sense of tension into his dream notebook. Before The Terminator became a script, it was fragments in James Cameron's dream notebook, a chaotic mix of sketches, night terrors, and strange one-liners. One note simply read, "A man from the future who can't return." That haunting idea became Kyle Reese, a soldier doomed to complete his mission and vanish in time's loop. Cameron was obsessed with paradoxes, the idea that fate can't be changed, only fulfilled. He said those dreams felt like memories from another timeline. Every element of the Terminator's time travel logic, the bootstrap paradox, the self-created loop, came from those pages. It wasn't calculated science fiction. It was poetry born from nightmares. What began as scribbles in a fevered notebook became the backbone of one of cinema's most elegantly tragic sci-fi tales. Reese didn't just travel through time. He fell out of a dream. Number 15. Sarah Connor's apartment was a real location. Sarah Connor's humble apartment wasn't a set. It was a real LA apartment complex, packed with real tenants. Instead of evacuating them during filming, Cameron paid everyone to stay inside and keep their windows shut, while explosions and gunfire rocked the courtyard. The building literally shook as squibs burst and glass shattered. Neighbors later said it felt like a war zone outside. The crew had to reset debris and bullet holes between takes, using makeshift tarps to protect the hallways. Cameron loved the realism, the peeling paint, the tight stairwell, the imperfect lighting. It grounded the sci-fi chaos in something painfully familiar. That decision gave the film grit, a sense that the future wasn't sleek and shiny, but just around the corner, hiding in some cracked LA apartment. Real people lived there. They just didn't know Judgment Day was being filmed outside. Number 16. Schwarzenegger burned his eyebrows off. During the chaotic car chase sequence, one explosion got a little too real. As fireballs erupted around the set, the blast singed off Arnold Schwarzenegger's eyebrows. Cameron kept rolling. The man was on fire, literally and figuratively. After the take, Arnold laughed it off, but continuity became a nightmare. They had to pause filming for his brows to recover for later scenes. In the meantime, makeup artists tried drawing them on, but it looked bizarre on camera. Too symmetrical for the Terminator's damaged face. The result? Cameron rescheduled shots to hide it. The incident became one of those behind-the-scenes war stories. Number 17. The film cost. Less than $7 million. Remember the blood, bullets, and chaos of Fact 8. That mechanical massacre almost feels like $1 million sequence. But it wasn't. Believe it or not, the Terminator was made on a shoestring budget, just $6.4 million. For comparison, Star Wars had cost over $11 million 7 years earlier. James Cameron and his team had to stretch every dollar. Lighting setups were reused, props were salvaged, and some extras doubled as crew. Even Arnold's leather jacket was bought off the rack. Yet somehow, Cameron's low-budget ingenuity created a world that looked far more expensive than it was. The film's gritty realism actually benefited from the financial constraints. The dim, neon-lit streets of Los Angeles perfectly captured the movie's dark, mechanical tone. What was meant to be a financial limitation ended up defining the Terminator's visual identity, a grim, sweaty vision of the future that felt terrifyingly real. Number 18. The studio delayed filming for a Stallone comedy. Before the Terminator could roll cameras, Orion Pictures forced Cameron to wait 9 whole months so the studio could finish Rhinestone, a Dolly Parton, Sylvester Stallone country musical comedy. Yes, really, the delay infuriated Cameron, but it turned out to be a blessing in disguise. During that downtime, he refined the script, storyboarded every major sequence, and even worked on aliens concepts that would later launch his career further. Arnold used the break to film Conan the Destroyer, building the perfect physique and steely composure that would define his Terminator performance. So while a musical about a New York cabbie learning to sing country songs delayed one of cinema's greatest sci-fi thrillers, it also gave Cameron time to turn a good idea into a masterpiece. Number 19. The future war scenes were shot in a parking lot. Those epic flashes of the post-apocalyptic future, laser blasts, flying hunter-killers, and mountains of skulls look like million-dollar sequences. In reality, James Cameron filmed them in a parking lot behind his production office. He used miniature tanks, smoke machines, and a few handfuls of sand to create the illusion of an endless battlefield. Every explosion was set off by hand, and the ashes of humanity were actually crushed plaster and burned plastic. The gritty, claustrophobic look that made the future scenes so iconic wasn't planned. It was born from sheer necessity. Cameron's creativity turned a small patch of asphalt into the apocalypse. That's how the Terminator conquered science fiction. Not with money, but with pure, relentless imagination. Number 20. The "I'll be back" line was almost different. The most iconic line in the Terminator, "I'll be back," was almost completely different. Arnold Schwarzenegger originally wanted to say, "I will be back," arguing that the contraction sounded weak and unnatural in his accent. James Cameron disagreed, insisting the shorter version had more punch. Arnold eventually gave in, and thank God he did. That tiny change transformed a simple sentence into cinematic legend. The way Arnold delivered it, calm, robotic, yet chillingly certain, encapsulated everything terrifying about the Terminator. Ironically, it wasn't even meant to be a catchphrase. But once the film blew up, that line became the calling card of his career, echoing across decades of sequels, parodies, and pop culture. Cameron's instinct proved prophetic. Sometimes a single syllable can create immortality. Bonus: the Terminator was nearly invisible. Before Schwarzenegger was cast, James Cameron toyed with a wild idea. The Terminator might be invisible. He imagined a killer robot that could phase through walls or appear only as a shadow, haunting Sarah Connor like a living nightmare. The concept was scrapped because practical effects in 1984 couldn't pull it off convincingly, but the idea still influenced the film's cold, relentless aesthetic. Even without invisibility, Arnold's T-800 moves like a ghost. Silent, precise, unstoppable. Every doorway he enters feels like a trap. Every glance from his unblinking eyes feels inevitable. That ghostly, unstoppable presence is why the Terminator terrifies more than just for its brute strength. Cameron's almost invisible machine became a metaphor. The future isn't coming slowly. It's already here, hunting. And there you have it. 20 weird, shocking, and utterly unforgettable facts about the Terminator. From fever dream origins to guerrilla-style explosions, from Arnold's mechanical precision to near lawsuits and eyebrow singes, this movie wasn't just made, it was forged. Every detail, every line, every frame pushed sci-fi and action to a terrifying new edge. So the next time you hear "I'll be back," remember, it's not just a quote. It's a promise, a glimpse into the unstoppable force of cinema history. Which fact shocked you the most? Drop it in the comments. Share this video with a friend who needs to see it, and remember, Judgment Day might be fictional, but the Terminator is forever.